Nostalgia. I don't think any other words describe Disney better than this. Disney added color to many people's childhoods with their wholesome content. As a kid, you could dive into the imaginary world created by Disney and forget about your homework in school for a minute. I'm not even exaggerating when I say everything Disney did literally felt like magic, and us 90s kids can relate. From its amazing cartoons to superheroes to its theme parks, we loved everything. But today, it doesn't feel the same. Something has changed, and Disney doesn't have that Disney magic anymore. They're constantly on the news, and not for good reasons. The most recent time being for the live-action Snow White. Oh boy, that one is creating waves. Also, the feud with DeSantis. Rumors are going around that Disney is being sold to Apple.
Is Disney going to sell to Apple? Could Apple actually acquire the entertainment juggernaut known as Disney? Now, it is a story and a whisper that's been going around now for, honestly, a couple of years.
The theme parks are seeing a decline in people. The number of people subscribed to its streaming service is on a decline as well. And their movies are flopping left and right. No one wants to watch them.
Disney shares falling sharply after earnings down almost 9%. Same story that's troubled the company for the past year. Blowout Park's performance, mired by persistent streaming losses and weak subscriber numbers.
As Disney turns 100 years old, many people are wondering if it's losing its charm and old age is finally setting in. So what has happened to Disney and why this decline? We'll be talking about how Disney became one of the biggest household names in the world and where it went wrong. So hold on to your seats for another episode with Intellectual Digest. Founded on October 16, 1923 by Walt and Roy Disney, the company was initially known as Disney Brothers Studio. But it wasn't until 1928 that the company actually achieved massive success. The company was in serious financial problems as it had lost the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, its biggest television series, due to a conflict with Universal Studios. But this was the best thing that could happen to Disney as it led to the epic debut of Mickey Mouse. Now, I don't need to tell you how big or culturally significant Mickey Mouse is, so I'll just leave it at that. As 1937 rolled around, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was released. It was a feature-length movie, which meant it needed a lot of resources and money. The company wasn't doing very well financially at this time, so if the movie failed, they would have been on the brink of bankruptcy. The initial budget for the movie production was $150,000, but it cost 1.5 million USD for the movie to be made. But Walt Disney was adamant about taking the risk, and boy did it pay off. When the movie released, it became the highest grossing movie of all time. It earned the company 8 million USD, or $169 million in today's money. The movie is still considered one of Disney's best works, and it's still very loved among the audience. The Snow White is also creating a buzz right now, and not in a good way. More on that in a minute. But right now, Disney was doing better than ever. In 1950, when Cinderella was released, it was an instant hit as well. It was also in the 1950s that the idea of a Disney theme park started to emerge in Walt Disney's mind. The first Disneyland opened on July 17, 1955. The park took $17 million to construct. Disneyland would become one of Disney's most lucrative businesses. Who doesn't love Disneyland, right? The popularity of the parks has still not faltered. It is deemed the happiest place on earth. Whether you are 5, 15, or 50, you will feel the magic of Disneyland. Of course, now it comes with the cost of emptying your bank account, but still. Walt Disney died on December 15, 1966, and Roy took over. Roy died on December 21, 1971, and Don Tatum became the CEO of Disney. For the first time since its inception, the company was in the hands of someone other than Disney family members. 1984 would be the year the Disney Renaissance would start. Michael Eisner was appointed as the CEO. Michael wanted Disney to become a major film studio. Maybe this was because film studios were his field of expertise. You see, Michael was the former CEO of Paramount Pictures, which meant he knew a thing or two about films. By then, the company had been making animated movies every 4 years, and Michael wanted to change that. He wanted a new film every 18 months. It was also his idea to create new cartoon characters for merchandising. Remember the times when everything you had for school was Disney? Especially during back-to-school season? Disney character backpacks and stationaries were enough to make any kid's day. In 1991, Pixar and Disney agreed to make 3 movies together. The first one was The Toy Story. I do not think there is a 90s or 2000s kid that does not know Toy Story. The Lion King came out in 1994, and it became the second highest grossing film of all time. 1999 marked the end of the Disney Renaissance. A new CEO, Bob Iger, was appointed in 2005. And thus started Disney's era of less creations, more acquisitions. I think till this time, Disney was creating something of value for its audience. But since 2005, Disney has lost the motivation to create anything unique and new. It has been one acquisition after another and remake after remake. Most of the company's current problems started from here on. Disney acquired Pixar for $7.4 billion from Steve Jobs.
Soon after I became CEO of the company, I had this crazy idea to buy Pixar.
I mean, why create anything new when you can just buy the company that is on top of its game, right? It was not all that bad though. Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest came out in 2006, becoming Disney's biggest hit to that day, and the third highest grossing film ever. Disney acquired Marvel Entertainment for $4 billion in 2009. Disney felt like the purchase of both Pixar and Marvel was a huge success, and this was the way to go. In 2012, Disney bought Lucasfilm for $4.05 billion. This gave them the ownership of franchises like Indiana Jones and Star Wars, and they intended to use them fully. With their acquisitions, Disney now had everything, from superheroes from Marvel to the amazing animation of Pixar to the rights of the extremely popular Star Wars movies from Lucasfilm. It was not like Disney was not making money during this time. It was bringing out movies that were a hit at the box office and making them billions. The company made $1 billion just from merchandise from the movie Frozen. Besides Frozen and some things here and there, Disney was not putting out any content of their own. They did not know, but their money grab tactics would not be sustaining and would backfire. In 2016, 4 of Disney's releases made more than $1 billion each at the box office. Since then, almost every year Disney has had movies that have made over $1 billion. In 2019, Disney acquired 20th Century Fox. With the rise in popularity of streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, Disney decided it was time they got into the business as well. So in 2019, Disney Plus was launched. Disney was the #1 in box office from 2016 to 2022. For a company that's been #1 for so long, this year alone the company has seen 4 massive flops that have cost Disney $1 billion. So what is happening here? You see, this was a long time coming for Disney, and the problem is not just their 1 or 2 businesses. All of their businesses seem to be a mess. The major reason for the company's current situation right now is its lack of innovation. Disney stopped bringing something new to the table a long time ago. Instead, they started to heavily rely on the movies and franchises that were already doing well. They were oversaturating the market with their products. For instance, any release from the MCU used to be a grand event. People waited months, if not years, for the movies. But that's gone now with the tens of releases every year. On another thought, the fans would enjoy these releases if the writing was good. Some fans feel like the oversaturation is not the problem, the writing is. It just feels like a money grab at this point. People even complained that they felt like the movies were written by children. Oops. You gotta do better than this, Disney. Same thing with Star Wars. This is shocking considering the budgets of the films. I wonder what they're spending all that money on. At this point, Disney just seems to be prioritizing quantity over quality. Overspending seems to be a massive problem too. Now, their other money-making machine was Disney Plus, but I think they overestimated its potential. The streaming service industry as a whole is struggling to stay afloat, so go figure. Disney's content has lost the quality it once had, and with so many competitors in the market, it is easier for consumers to switch to a better service provider. The recent Q3 report shows a decline in subscribers from 157.8 million users to 146.7 million users. Many people feel like it was overpriced. They also get criticized for constant hikes in prices. They are not giving anything new to the customers, but constantly hiking up their prices. This is probably because Disney has gone under cost-saving mode. They want to achieve about $5.5 billion in cost savings. It is also laying off 7,000 of its employees. Another massive issue with Disney is that it keeps on making remakes and live actions of its popular animations instead of bringing something new to the box office. Disney acquired Pixar, but is not using its full potential. The recent Pixar movies have not even made it to the box office and are just streamed on Disney+. I don't know what Disney's game plan is here. People love the nostalgic feeling the classic Disney animations brought. The live action and the remakes are a disappointment. For instance, people criticize The Lion King for lack of emotion. Also, add the remakes with a touch of social and political activism. Yep, it's a disaster. Remember Snow White? The thing that started it all? They're making a live action remake. See, that would not be too bad, right? I mean, how bad could it get? Turns out pretty bad. They're making Snow White, but without the prince that supposedly stalks the princess and is super creepy. Not my words. These are the words of the actress Rachel Ziegler, who is playing Snow White.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
Turns out she's actually not a big fan of the movie. Also, the 7 dwarves have been apparently replaced by culturally diverse men, and among them, only one has dwarfism. To make sure that the company has as much diversity as it possibly can have, they even have a designated position for that. They have a chief diversity officer, but sadly, she resigned recently. Okay, so the Snow White is a strong, independent woman that needs no man. The dwarves aren't dwarves anymore, and the actress who is playing the main character is not into the character she's playing and calls the prince creepy. Phew! It is being criticized so much that nobody has high hopes for this movie anymore. Some people even consider this utterly unnecessary. But let's be honest, Disney has given up on making original content a long time ago. I wonder what Walt Disney would think of this. Go woke, go broke seems to be what people are constantly saying about Disney's decline. Disney also is in a feud with the whole state of Florida right now, especially its governor. It started when the company publicly opposed the Don't Say Gay bill that bans classroom lessons on sexual orientation and identity.
Battle between Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Disney takes a new turn.
The House of Mouse now taking legal action against the governor.
Disney, the parent company of ABC, filing a lawsuit against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
The Mouse House dealing another blow to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Disney.
I think wanting to make their characters more diverse is not the problem here. The problem starts when it does not make any sense, like replacing the dwarves with diverse men. This is causing Disney to lose market share, and the audience is drifting away from the company they once loved so much. Disney provided an escape to people from the real world, and now when you go to watch their movies, they give you more real world than you're experiencing in the real world. This whole advocacy thing is not going so great for Disney. Now let's talk about the House of Mouse's other business, Disneyland and Disney World. Remember when I said Disneyland came with the cost of emptying your bank account? I was not kidding. The prices are so absurd now that working class people can't afford them. Over the years, Disney has dramatically reduced park investments. There is no regular maintenance because of which parks are in bad shape. People are frustrated over broken rides. And there are even cases of guests getting stuck on rides. Like with Disney Plus, the quality is decreasing, but they're constantly increasing the prices. The happiest place on earth seems to be losing its charm.
Top destinations for families, especially on the 4th of July, but travel experts say crowds have been noticeably thinner. According to Touring Plans, a travel company that tracks wait times at theme parks.
Disney's Star Wars theme hotel was a major failure. It is closing after being in operation for just 18 months. The problem? The crazy price. For a family of 4, it costs around $6,000 for a 2-night stay. The cost came around to $4,800 for 2 people. Good luck finding people who can afford those absurd prices in this economy. Disney reported a net loss of $460 million in the 3 months ending July 1st. If you look at the same quarter last year, Disney made a net profit of $1.4 billion. The company's park has seen an increase in revenue, but I think it can be attributed to a rise in prices rather than an increase in visitors. Disney's stock price has also been decreasing, and now it's at its lowest it has been in the last 5 years. Right now, Disney does not seem to do anything right. It's losing customers and the audience left and right. It is mainly due to the company focusing on highly generating revenue and not giving the consumers anything of value. The first step to solving a problem is admitting that there is one, and Disney seems to be nowhere near that. For now, it feels as if we're witnessing the slow death of Disney. Hope that they can turn things around and the company can keep Disney's 100-year-old legacy alive. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did on this episode. Looking forward to seeing you all next week. Intellectual Digest out.